إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله جل وعلا، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، والشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. قال الله تعالى في سورة الفرقان, in the 63rd verse of Surah Al-Furqan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions Ibad al-Rahman, the servants of Ar-Rahman, His servants who reach the highest plateau of ubudiyyah, of worship, the highest plateau of akhlaq, mannerisms. Their mannerisms in the ibadah reach the highest plateau. He is bringing our attention to these servants so we can emulate them, so we can be just like them. And He says in this ayah, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He starts with Ibad al-Rahman, the servants of Ar-Rahman. And the first characteristic that He chooses with His perfect wisdom and His perfect knowledge to draw our attention to is that they're humble. يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. Even though He's praising them for their high level of worship and the high level of manners, the first aspect before any of the aspects or characteristics that He draws our attention to in these ayat, He mentions يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. وعبد الرحمن السعدي, Shaykh Abd al-Rahman al-Sa'di, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions why they are called Ibad al-Rahman in the first place. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose this name Ar-Rahman to attach them to Him, to His name Ar-Rahman, which shows His characteristic of mercy. Rahmatu wasi'at kulli shay. His mercy has expounded everything. It is to draw our attention that they have not reached this degree in ibadah and akhlaq and manners except from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلِهَذَا تَوَاضَعُوا. فَلِهَذَا, for this purpose, they are humble. They are humble because they understand perfectly and in totality that all the good that they have is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, لَا يَتَكَبَّرُونَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. They are not prideful and arrogant on the people, and they not feel they are better for the people, and they are scared of this fadl. They are scared of this bounty to leave them. Therefore, they are humble and they thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala day in and day out, and they are merciful with the people because they know they have nothing. They know they were a sperm. They know they are a drop of water. They know they came out what? They came out their father. They came out their mother. They know they're going to enter the grave. Therefore, لا يتكبرون على الناس. قال الله تعالى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nur, ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته ما زكى منكم من أحد أبدا. If it wasn't for the bounty of Allah upon you and His mercy, none of you would have been pure. None of you have reached goodness. None of you would have did any good for yourselves. None of you. None of you. صاحب الأموال, the one who has money. صاحب العلم, the one who has knowledge. صاحب المكانة, the one who has reached mansib, a plateau above the people. They know, and we should know, none of that is from you. It's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibn Abbas, رضي الله عنهما, ترجمان القرآن, al-Mufassir, yani of the greatest, if not the greatest, explainer of the Quran from the other Sahaba. May Allah be pleased with all of them. He said what this ayah means. He gave a tafsir of what this ayah means. مَا زَكَّى مِنْكُمْ مِنْ أَحَدٍ أَبَدًا. None of you would have been pure. None of you would have reached any goodness. He said, مَهْتَدَى أَحَدٌ مِنَ الْخَلَائِقِ بِشَيْءٍ أو إِلَى شَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ يَنْفَعُهُ بِهِ نَفْسُهُ. He said, nothing of the creation would have guided itself to any goodness at all. Nothing. You would have not done any good for yourself, not even give yourself a drop of water. You would have did nothing good for yourself. This is what Ibn Abbas says. He said, وَلَمْ يَتَّقِ شَيْئًا مِنَ الشَّرِّ يَدْفَعُ عَنْ نَفْسُهُ. And he said, and he would have not, or nothing of the creation would have been able to protect itself from any evil. Nothing. فَلِمَاذَا تَتَكَبَّرُ. Why are you prideful? Why are you arrogant? Why do you feel you're better than the people for? Why do you walk with your nose up for? For what? You did nothing for yourself. And you're going to be taken into account. You didn't ask to be here. You came here. Allah gave you a fadl and you think you're better than the people. And you're going to destroy your dunya. You're going to make the people hate you. You're going to make Allah dislike you. And you're going to end up in the hellfire. And you're going to end up in the hell. كل من الكبر ولا تمشي في الأرض مرحا إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا. لا نقرأ القرآن. Do we not read the Quran? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commands us, لا تمشي في الأرض مرحا. Don't walk in the earth with amazement of yourself. Don't think you're better than the people. We see how you come in the room. We see how you talk. We see how you walk with your nose up. Doesn't matter what you have. You're going to be taken into account Yawm al-Qiyamah, naked, uncircumcised. You have nothing. لا تمشي في الأرض مرحا. Don't walk in the earth with amazement of yourself. You think you're so good. What do you think you did? Huh? Because you did something? Because you benefit the people with something? Now you got to walk with your chest up. The people have to praise you every second and every minute. لا تمشي في الأرض مرحا. Don't walk in the earth with amazement and pridefulness and arrogance. Allah then draws the example. إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا. You'll never split the earth when you walk. When you walk, you think you're so big and arrogant. Look what Allah says in His book in Surah Al-Isra. إنك لن تخرق الأرض. You'll never split the earth when you're walking. This dunya that you walk on is much bigger and much stronger than you. You'll never split Allah's creation. وَلَن تَبَلُغُ الْجِبَالَ طُولًا. And you'll never be as tall as the mountains. Because you walk with this high arrogance and you think you're 10 feet tall or 100 feet tall and you think you're so big when in reality you're nothing but a abd miskeen. Abdun miskeen. You don't even know what's going to be your ending yet. You don't even know what's going to happen to you in the akhirah. But you walk with your head up and you think you're better than the people. Wallahi, tallahi wa billahi. That person you think you're better than, wallahi, huwa mumkin aqrab ila Allah mink. He may be closer than Allah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than you, by far. You may end up in a hellfire. He may be with the illiyin, close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the malik and muqtadir, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you think he's nothing. You think you're better than him. When he comes by you, you brush him off. Did we not read what Luqman said to his son? Did we not read the advice of Luqman to his son? He said, وَلَا تُصَعِّرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَمْشِي فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ. Don't walk in the earth with your cheek. He said, don't put your cheek to the people. Ana so-and-so. Ana sahib amwal. I have money. And I have this business. I have this makana. I'm the one. I speak to the people. The people listen to me. I'm somebody. Don't walk with your cheek to the people thinking you're somebody. Don't do that. That's what he told his son. And this advice is something we should be telling our children as well. لا تصعر خدك للناس. Don't put your cheek to the people. We know what that means. When you walk in the room and you say, I've arrived. You know this type of people. They walk in the room and they say, I've arrived. Everybody, look, I'm here now. Give me salam, I'm here. Start praising me, I'm waiting for it. You know who I am? You know how much money I have? You know how much knowledge I have? You know my position? You know my connections? Come to me, start praising me. لا تصعر خدك للناس. Don't put your cheek up to the people. ولا تمشي في الأرض مرحا. And don't walk in the earth with amazement for yourself. Why? إن الله لا يحب كل مختال فخور. Allah does not like any person who is prideful and arrogant and amazed with themselves. And if Allah does not like anybody, we know the hadith mashhur. إذا أبغض الله عبدا. If Allah hates a servant, and Allah hates al-mutakabbirin. Allah hates, remember this, Al-mutakabbirin, the prideful people, arrogant people, Allah hates them. Allah, if you have this characteristic, if you are mutakabbir, fa'alam in Allah la yuhibbuk. Know for sure Allah does not like you. Know for sure. What was it? What was it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said about these people? That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves so and so, He tells Jibreel, I love so and so. But if He hates that individual, He says to Jibreel, I hate so and so. And then Jibreel goes to all of the creation and he says, Inna Allah yubghidu fulan. Allah hates this individual. فَأَبْغِضُوا. So all of the Ahlus Sama, all of the Malaika will hate that individual. ثُمَّ يُوضَعُ لَهُ الْبُغْضُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send down from hatred in the earth. The people will hate him. The people will hate him. Al-mutakabbir لا يحبه زوجته. His wife doesn't like him. لا يحبه أولاده. His children don't like him. لا يحب الناس. The people do not like المتكبر. فاعلم ذلك. Know that for sure. The prideful, arrogant people is not loved by Allah, not loved by the malaika, not loved by the people. Even their closest people do not like them. Secondly, after the people are not going to love you in this dunya, in the akhirah, حرم الله الجنة على المتكبرين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the Jannah haram upon them. We all working for Jannah, right? We here, we came, made ghusl, come here, drove our cars, walked, come to the masjid Yawm al-Jum'ah because it's wajib, because we want the paradise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did the Prophet ﷺ say about the prideful, arrogant person? Al-mutakabbir. لا يدخل الجنة لا يدخل الجنة من كان في قلبه مثقال ذرة من كبر. The person who has the smallest amount of pridefulness and arrogance in his heart will not enter paradise. The smallest amount, a mustard seed, an atom weight of kibr, of pridefulness in his heart, he will not enter the paradise. Everyone should be paying attention to themselves right now. And if you think this speech does not pertain to me, then you might be the biggest mutakabbir in the room. If you think that this speech right here does not pertain to me, you might be the most prideful and arrogant person, as Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala said. He said, al-mutakabbirin, they don't think that they're prideful. The prideful people don't think that they're prideful. فَلِهَذَا يَتَكَبُّرُونَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. So they are prideful with the people because they don't think they're prideful. And the humble people, they think they're prideful, so they work harder to be humble with the people. Now, thirdly, this characteristic of kibr is a sifa shaytaniyya. This is a devilish characteristic, kibr. Do we not read the ayat of the Quran? Surah Al-Baqarah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. When we commanded the malaika, and Iblis was of the most righteous of servants from the jinn, for he reached this high plateau to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the malaika. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the malaika and he was with them, to make prostration to Adam. They all made prostration, all of the malaika. You know how many malaika there are? Bayt al-Ma'mur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the hadith, or the Prophet mentioned Bayt al-Ma'mur, 70,000 angels enter this house and worship Allah on a daily basis, and they never come back. How many malaika were commanded to prostrate to Adam in that time? Iblis, Abba, he rejected that. He didn't do that. Why? Allah said, wastakbara, because he was prideful and arrogant. And what happened? We know what happened to Iblis. He is shaitan al-rajim now, the cursed, banished from the paradise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-A'raf, قال, he asks Iblis, قال ما لك ألا تسجد إذ أمرتك. Imagine Rabbul Alameen, the creator of everything, Al-Qawi, Al-Aziz, the powerful. He says to this weak servant, what is wrong with you? Why did you not prostrate when I commanded you? He says, قال أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. He said, because I'm better than him. Kibr, he was prideful. He said, I'm better than him. I'm better than him. You created me from fire and you created him from mud. So he felt he was better. Therefore, عصى الله سبحانه وتعالى. He disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فالكبر كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بطر الحق وغمط الناس. Al-kibr, what is pridefulness, what is arrogance? It is denying the truth. Allah commanded him, he denied it. And it's belittling the people. It's feeling you're better than the people. What did shaitan do? He denied the command of Allah. This is haqq. Allah commanded you to do something. He denied it from his pridefulness and his arrogance. Because why? He felt he was better than our father Adam. Leave this characteristic. Wallahi tallahi wa. Everyone, look into your heart. Expect your own self. As the Prophet ﷺ, he is saying, if you have an ounce of this kibr, this pride in your heart, you're not going to enter paradise. So everyone do yourself a favor, as I myself need to do the same thing. Especially Ahlul Amwal, the people who have money. Ahlul Ilm, the people who have knowledge. Ahlul Makana, the people who have positions. Watch yourself. Because these things sometimes get to our head and we forget our humble beginnings. We are such a small, weak creation. We forget that when this dunya comes in our heart and enters our heart. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take this out of our heart, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. First khutbah we spoke about the tahdhir, warning from this khasla, dhamima, this bad, horrible characteristic of kibr, of pridefulness. And we spoke about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not love these individuals, and how the people do not love these individuals, and how the Jannah is haram on these individuals. So inshallah, all of us, we will try our best and fight. When nujahid and fusana, we will strive to nukhrij, to remove this filthy characteristic from our hearts, and to be like Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the most humble of mankind sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is what I want to speak about a few minutes before we end the khutbah. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the best of creation, Khalilullah, the friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rose him up to the seven heavens. Rose him up to the seven heavens. The wahi, revelation came down to him. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Wahi, revelation. Al-Quran al-Kareem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise him yawm al-qiyamah over all of the anbiya and make him be able to give intercession for his ummah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has raised him more than he has raised any other of the creation. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. And he has raised his remembrance all the way until Yawm al-Qiyamah. With all of this, he was the most humble because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to be humble. Allah told him in the Quran and commanded him to be humble. If there's any of the creation that has a reason to have any pride, it's Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But if we look at his sunnah and we look at his seerah, he was the most humble of the creation. Subhanallah. This is why we love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is why we want to be like him. Someone who's a qa'id, like a president, a king, a father, a husband, a warrior, a teacher, the imam. All of these job titles of leadership. But at the same time, he's the most humble of the people. It is said in Nisa'i, recorded, that إِذَا مَرَّ بِالصِّبْيَانِ سَلَّمَ عَلَيْهِمْ. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he was to walk past the children, the young children, he will give them salam. He will joke with them. Ya Umair, ma fa'al al-Nughir. He will play with them. He will joke with them, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is recorded that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to sit down when he would eat. He didn't sit on a kursi, a big chair. I'm the Ra'is. I'm the president. We are the people who run things. I got to sit on the big chair, not the regular chair like the people. Not sit down. I got to sit on the big chair. That's how the people think. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to sit on the floor and eat. Humble man. Humble man. Not only sit on the floor and eat, he will eat with 3 fingers. He don't want to eat too much. He could eat anything he wants. He would take little few bites. He don't eat too much. He never would sit down and eat. He said, "Ana la akul muttaqiyan." He would never sit and lay down and eat like how the ru'asa and the muluk, how the kings and the leaders would eat in a lavish way. He would never do that. He's humble, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He wouldn't do these things. He was the most understanding. He knew the fadl, the bounty of Allah was great upon him. He will eat with the masakeen, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He would eat with the masakeen. Have we not heard the hadith of the leaven with Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu? When the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sat with the masakeen, Ahlul Suffah, the poorest, destitute people of Medina, dirt all over their bodies, maybe one piece of clothing. He shared a cup or a bowl of milk with all of them. And guess what? He was the last one to drink from it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The last one to drink from it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Barakah, humble. Yazid, Al-Aswad ibn Yazid radiallahu anhu, he asked Aisha radiallahu anha, كيف كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في البيت? How was the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the house? How was he? They want to learn. She said, كان يكون في مهنة أهله. He used to be in the service of his family, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to be in their service, helping his wives, helping his children, playing with them, sharing time with them, speaking to them, milking the shat. He will milk his animals to get milk. If his clothing was ripped, he will stitch it back his own self. If his shoes broke, he will fix them back his own self. If they needed to go get things from the market, he will go back and forth to the market for his family. وَإِذَا حَضْرَتِ الصَّلَاةِ خَرَجَ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ. But if the salah was called, if the adhan was called, he will run straight to the masjid, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. هُوَ قُدْوَتُنَا. He is our example. We follow him. Don't follow these people. Don't follow these people out here because they will teach you wrong. وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّوكَ عَنْ سَبِيلٍ. And if you was to follow most of the people in the earth, they will send you off the right path. We follow Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He had the biggest mansab. He had the biggest makana, the biggest status amongst all of the creation, and yet still he was the most humble. وَخْفِضْ جَنَاحَكَ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah says to him, and lower your wing, lower yourself, be humble with the believers. And the accounts and the hadith and the stories of his humility are kathir jiddan. So many, we don't have time for it. His whole sirah, his whole life, being humble with the creation and merciful. He is our example. We follow him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Don't follow the people you see out here teaching you the wrong thing. Rather be humble. Be humble. Be humble. This is what we need in order for the community to prosper. Certain personalities need to lose that stuff they got in their chest. I'm speaking to myself first. Those certain personalities need to lose that arrogance and self-love you have for yourself that is holding the community back. Yes, and the people who I'm speaking to, they understand what I'm saying, because these personal quarrels over self-love and personality issues is harming the masses of the Muslimin. Because you love yourself and you feel yourself better. Ana khayrun minhu, like the shaitan said, I am better than him. Therefore, the masses, the next generation is not prospering, and we're not bettering ourselves because of this pridefulness we have in our chest. Leave it. Leave it for the sake of Allah. Leave it for your own sake. Leave it so you can earn the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Leave it so you can earn the love of the people. Leave it so you can enter in the paradise and earn the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah forgive us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove all the bad characteristics from our heart. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exchange those characteristics with good characteristics. Allahumma ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us like the Nabi and really follow him. Not by just speech, follow his character. Follow his belief system, but also follow his character. Alayhi salatu wasalam. Follow the Sahaba and their practice of the religion. Follow them in their ibadah. Follow them in their akhlaq. Follow them how they used to deal with the people and deal with their families. Deal with each other. Deal with the mu'mineen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise us, inshallah, and raise our community and allow us to prosper and do much big things, inshallah, all for his sake. Make us all sincere, inshallah, sincere to really want to push Islam forward for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and give this next generation better than what we had, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Ya muqallib al-qulub, ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. يا مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. قوموا لله قانتين واقيموا الصلاة.